You know, every single business on this planet, I don't care if it's a tiny coffee shop or a massive tech company, they all wrestle with the exact same huge question. It's a question that can literally make or break a product, a question that really separates the winners from the losers.
So what is that perfect price? Is it the one that just sells the most units? Or is it the price that makes you the most actual money? And are those even different things? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to solve right now.
At first glance, it seems pretty simple, right? You either want to maximize your total sales revenue, that big top-line number, or you want to maximize your profit, what you actually take home. A lot of people just assume that if you aim for the most revenue, the most profit will just kind of follow along. But as we're about to find out, that's a really dangerous assumption to make.
Yeah, the problem is that simple idea rarely survives first contact with real customers. See, in a perfect world, the link between price and how much you sell would be a nice, predictable straight line. But in the real world, how people behave is a lot more, well, it's a lot more curved.
I mean, sure, you could start with a basic linear model. You know, for every dollar you raise the price, demand drops by a nice, neat, fixed amount. It's a clean way to start thinking about it, but it just doesn't capture how people actually decide to buy things. And that's exactly what the data we're looking at here shows. When you actually plot out real prices against real demand numbers, you don't get a straight line at all. You get a curve, and that means our simple model is just not going to cut it.
So we need a better tool for the job. Enter the constant elasticity model. Okay, don't let the fancy name scare you off. All this really means is that a certain percentage change in your price leads to a consistent percentage change in demand. It creates that curve we saw, which is way more realistic, but yeah, it's also a little trickier to analyze.
So how in the world do we deal with this messy, curved data? Well, this is where we pull out a little bit of statistical magic. It's a technique that lets us, and I mean this quite literally, straighten out that curve.
This little trick is called a log transformation. Think of it like putting on a special pair of glasses. By looking at our data through this logarithmic lens, we can transform that complex, winding road of data into a simple, straight path that's way easier to work with. So here's where we started. This is the raw data, the before picture. And you can see the pattern right away, can't you? As the price goes up, demand goes down. But look closely. It's definitely not a straight line. It's a curve, just like our fancy model predicted.
And boom! Here's the aftershot. This is just so cool. It perfectly shows the power of that log trick. By plotting the log of the price against the log of the demand, that messy curve has completely transformed into this beautiful straight line. Now our data is ready for some serious analysis.
Okay, so now that we've tamed that curve and we've got this nice straight line, we can finally build a model we can trust. It's time to put our new tool to work and figure out what's really going on in our market.
And the very first thing we find is this R-squared value of almost 82%. So what does that mean? It basically tells us that our new model explains about 82% of what makes our customer demand go up or down. That is a fantastic score. It means our model is really solid.
Now, the model gives us more than just a good fit score. It gives us this absolutely crucial number called elasticity. This is the key metric that tells us exactly how sensitive our customers are to any changes in price. And for our product, that magic number, the elasticity score, is 1.5. This single number was the secret hidden inside that original curve. And believe me, it's going to dictate our entire pricing strategy.
So what does a 1.5 actually mean for the business? Well, because the score is greater than 1, it tells us our product is highly elastic. In plain English, our customers are super price sensitive. Even a tiny change in price is going to cause a big shift in how many people buy the product. This is a huge piece of the puzzle.
All right, we've done the heavy lifting. We straightened the curve, we built a killer model, and we found our market's elasticity. So now we can finally answer that original question and find the perfect price. Or should I say the perfect prices?
Remember those two goals from the beginning? Let's put them head to head. In one corner, we have the goal of maximizing total sales revenue. And in the other corner, we've got the goal of maximizing our bottom line profit, which of course has to account for how much it costs to make the thing.
Okay, so if our only goal is to get the most revenue possible, the biggest top-line number we can, our model points to a very clear answer, $18.52. That's the price that gets the most dollars flowing through the door.
But now, let's factor in our costs. Let's say it cost us $15 to make each one of these things. When we run the numbers again, but this time to maximize profit. The best price jumps way up to $26.02. Whoa, that's over 40% higher.
And this right here, this is the big reveal. Maximizing your revenue and maximizing your profit are not the same thing. They lead to two totally different pricing strategies. The revenue curve hits its peak at a lower price point, while the profit curve, which is the one that really matters for the health of the business, peaks at a much higher price.
So what we've discovered is that there isn't just one single perfect price. Instead, there are two, and each one sits at the top of a different mountain. The final step then is a strategic one, deciding which of those peaks you actually want to climb.
So which price is the right one? Well, this isn't about math anymore. It's all about strategy. That lower revenue maximizing price of $18.52, that's your play for growth. It's about grabbing market share, getting your product into as many hands as possible. But that higher profit maximizing price of $26.02, that's a strategy for stability and financial health. It's about making your bottom line as strong as possible.
In the end, the data doesn't just hand you the answer. It gives you an informed choice. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If this were your product, and you knew one path leads to dominating the market while the other leads to maximum profitability, which peak would you choose to climb?